get us started, please.
Hey Chuck, hope you're doing well, staying warm, staying safe on the roads. I guess just to get started, what are you guys seeing about Florida? What makes them, as good as they are, and just what do you see from them?
They're probably one of the better teams in the country in transition. They really do a great job of rebounding the ball, hitting the head, and getting to the rim. I think when they play in transition, they're as good as anybody in the country. And then they go to the glass. They really do a great job of rebounding the ball. So I think those are two things that they do really, really well. Obviously, there's some other things that they've done well throughout the season, but transition offense and offensive rebounding have been really good for those two for that team.
And then Coach Chin Coleman had told us that you guys were working on getting John L some easier looks. There was a point in the game against Ole Miss where he had a really nice drive to the basket. Is that kind of what you guys are looking for with him? And how do you kind of balance those looks versus his looks from three?
Yeah, I thought the other day was a good example of us trying to get Nelly incorporated in our offense. Obviously, he'd been hurt, but he had a good night the other night. We got to build from that and continue to get him open looks, whether it's curl jump shots at the elbow or open looks beyond the 3-point line.
And then just kind of staying on Nelly, obviously he played with Elijah Martin for a while there at Florida Atlantic on that Final Four team. Have you guys kind of been talking with him about him and just kind of how excited is he to kind of go up against his former teammate?
I don't think there's been a whole lot of conversation about. I think everyone on staff recognizes that they played together a few years ago, but I don't think there's been a ton of conversation in regards to their relationship. I think Nelly's been really good and formative in terms of what type of player he is, the things that he thought he did well at FAU. And so I think that's been helpful, just having insight from a former teammate that can help us in the scout report. And he's been playing really well by it. Like he's been playing tremendous for Florida.
And then last one for me for now, but you guys is three bigs, and I know Z was dealing with his injury, but combined for 5 points against Ole Miss. Just what did you kind of see there, and how do you kind of try to get those guys more involved in the offense?
I think one thing, when things are not going well for you as a big, I think one thing that you can do yourself is you got to go to the offensive glass, go rebound the ball. You go rebound the ball, you have an opportunity to obviously get a putback, opportunity to draw a foul, get to the free throw line, get yourself going a little bit, and then we've got to we're trying to do a better job of incorporating our perimeter guys with our bigs, where we can have a balance of some post presence and obviously some threat from the 3-point line.
Ty.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Florida's transition. I know you guys didn't get out and run as much as you wanted to the other night due to lack of Ole Miss turnovers. Is that all it is? Just force some more turnovers to get you guys out and running tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we've got to be a little bit more active with our hands to trying to get deflections, and we've got to do a better job, continue to do a better job on the glass. Transition offense starts with defensive stops and rebounding. You get defensive stops and rebounding, limit teams to one shot and one shot only, then you can get out in transition. Obviously, getting deflections and steals allow you to also get out in transition, but we just got to get stops, rebound the ball, and push, because I think when we get out in transition, we're as good as anybody in the league.
I know DJ's been here before. Boogie's plays first two games of conference play. I know how vital they are to y'all's offense. How do you guys maybe get them going a little bit in this game tomorrow?
You mentioned it. You started the conversation. Transition. That's usually the highest percentage shot. Where you have numbers, whether it's 4-on-2, 3-on-1, 5-on-4. We got to get out in the open court and attack the basket. I think DJ, Boogie, when those guys get in the open court, again, they're as good as anybody in our league. But we got to put them in those positions, and one way to do it is get stops, rebound the ball, get deflections, get turnovers, where we can take advantage of the open court.
Jackson.
Hey Chuck, kind of on a similar theme there, but focusing on the half court. Are you guys like hoping? It just seems there's some times where the offense doesn't really start 15, 20, maybe even 12 seconds on the shot clock. Has that been a point of emphasis at all, or is that something you like? Maybe the patient half court offense that y'all have been having.
Yeah, I think we've got to give some credit to the opposing team. I think teams realize that if they allow us to just push the ball, we're really, really good. If they're going to just let us go up and down, I mean, we're as good as anybody in the SEC. So I think teams are doing certain things. After free throws, they're going 2-2-1, 1-2-2, and it's a soft token pressure just to slow us down, which then obviously gets into the shot clock, which we start our offense a little bit later in the clock. We can't allow teams to do that to us, but again, we got to give some credit to the opposing team. They understand that if they don't present some kind of soft token pressure and they allow us to use the entire clock, then we become really, really dangerous.
Gotcha. John L, you guys have brought him off the bench the past couple games. Is that a role that you like for him as a sixth man, or is that him working his way back after the wrist absence?
Well, as of right now, he's trying to work his way back in it, right? He had been out for a few games and in a few days, so it would be unfair for us to just throw him out there in the starting lineup, particularly SEC play. So let's bring him off the bench, allow him to see the game, allow him to see his matchups, see where he can take advantage of opportunities, which I thought worked out really, really well the other night for him.
Rebounding obviously going to be huge against Florida. I know Ole Miss isn't the same rebounding team as Tennessee or even Florida, but did you guys see any improvements on that aside from the numbers? Just when you went back and watched the film, or was it better effort from the guys on Wednesday night?
It was some guys had better effort for sure, no doubt about it. We just got to continue to grow. We got to continue to build on some of the positive things that we've done, and I think we will. I know we will. So. We just got to continue to go to the glass, rebound the ball. Our guards have to, maybe chip in and help our bigs out a little bit because they're capable, particularly on the defensive end. We need all five guys to box out, rebound the ball.
And last one for me. I know it happens every year, but our first time asking you as a coaching staff, the extra day of rest for Florida. You guys will have an extra day of rest, I'm sure, down the air. How does that change things in preparing and scouting and just getting ready for a team when there's a difference in rest?
I think the biggest thing is the scouting component. I think kids are resilient and kids can, they can, if you have an extra day, obviously it's beneficial, but if you didn't have the extra day, I think kids are resilient and tough and big enough and athletic enough today where they can just do it. I think the extra day of scouting is probably the one that's really helpful. It allows you to really hone in on the opposing team and go over certain things in detail because you just have an additional day to really lock in on the opposing team.
Daniel.
Hi, Coach. I mean, I guess you touched on it a little earlier, but how do you kind of combat the versatility of their three big men in Chinyalu, Hauk, and Condon?
Physicality is the name of the game for Florida. They're great in transition, but it starts with their physicality. So we've got to match their physicality. We've got three bigs of our own that we think are pretty good, and we're expecting our three bigs to play really, really well against their bigs. So physicality. I think our guys are skilled, so we can take advantage of one or two of those guys, hopefully on the perimeter if they get some open looks. But at the end of the day, this is one of those SEC games where it comes down to toughness. You gotta buckle down, be tough, physical, rebound the ball, and limit your turnovers, limit your mistakes.
And then, I mean, when Florida comes off a performance like they did against Tennessee, does the coaching staff take any extra stock into it or look at that film particularly in preparation for this when they,
Well, I don't know if it's extra stock, but obviously, it's eye-opening when you see the score. But I mean, I think we've got a veteran staff. We've been around. We understand that in league play, anything and everything can happen, particularly in this league, because I know it's made national news over the last few weeks. In my opinion, this is the best league by far. There's no teams in this league that are not good teams. So on any given night, anyone can beat anyone. And on any given night, if a team gets hot and they've got the spirit, they can win by 20 points.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Appreciate your patience today. Appreciate your time, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, are you still there?